A long time ago, a really smart guy said this: "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety." Benjamin Franklin wrote that in 1755. He has been dead for 236 years. He is still the smartest person in any room that contains a sitting United States senator, a cable news anchor, or a 31-year-old mechanical engineer from Torrance, California, who apparently decided that democracy was taking too long and upgraded to charging a security checkpoint at the White House Correspondents Dinner, armed with multiple weapons on the night of April 25, 2026. His name is Cole Tomas Allen. He was Teacher of the Month at a tutoring company in December 2024. He donated $25 to a Kamala Harris PAC. He booked a room at the Washington Hilton, waited for the right moment, and ran at the checkpoint while Secret Service agents were in the process of dismantling the metal detectors because the president was already seated and they were no longer needed at the door. The timing of that last detail is interesting. We will come back to it. Trump was evacuated from the ballroom. Photographs from inside show him at the table in the moments before the evacuation. That expression is also interesting. Because before we talk about Cole Allen, we need to talk about what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania, in July of 2024. And before we talk about Butler, I need to tell you something about where I stand. Because in the current media climate, if you do not establish your coordinates immediately, someone will do it for you incorrectly. The part where I establish my coordinates. I voted for Donald Trump in 2016. I believed him. I thought he was a man who had looked at the machine from the outside, understood what it was, and intended to break it. I was wrong, or he changed, or both. A man who campaigns on draining the swamp and then installs Peter Thiel and Elon Musk as the operational architects of the federal government is not draining anything. He is restocking it with different predators who have better lawyers and worse intentions. His expression is ice cold, no alarm, no surprise, the look of a man waiting for his cue, not the look of a man who just learned someone armed with multiple weapons is running at the security perimeter of the room he is sitting in. I have published multiple investigations documenting Trump's connections to the globalist oligarch class he promised to dismantle. I will publish more until they silence me, which they eventually will. Freelance journalism is a dangerous profession that does not come with health benefits and includes the added bonus of dying mysteriously of a heart attack or being shot in the back of the head during a robbery where nothing is reported stolen. I am telling you right now that what has been sold to the American public as 3 separate assassination attempts by 3 separate lone wolves across 2 years of Trump's political life does not feel right to me. Not because I want Trump dead, because I have been in rooms where things go wrong, and I know what genuine institutional failure looks like, and I know what a manufactured crisis looks like, and these events have the fingerprints of the second thing on them in ways that nobody in mainstream media is willing to say out loud yet. Tucker Carlson said it. Marjorie Taylor Greene said it. Tim Dillon, a comedian who spent 2024 actively driving voter turnout for Trump, said on his podcast on April 11th of this year, "Just admit you staged it in Butler. When the people who helped put the man in office are saying it, it is worth examining." Butler, Pennsylvania, and the questions that still do not have answers. July 13th, 2024. Thomas Matthew Krupps, 20 years old, climbed onto a rooftop 148 yards from the stage where Trump was speaking and fired 8 rounds. A bullet grazed Trump's ear. One rally attendee, Corey Compratore, was killed. 2 others were critically wounded. Crooks was shot dead within seconds. A year of congressional investigations, FBI inquiries, and independent reporting has produced the following answers to the central questions about how this happened. The building Crooks fired from had a clear and unobstructed line of sight to the stage. Congressional investigators confirmed that this specific sightline was discussed by Secret Service personnel all week, every day in the week leading up to the rally. Simple black cloth, draped over a nearby fence would have prevented a crowd from gathering on the AGR property and made crooks immediately visible. Nobody deployed the cloth. No federal, state, or local law enforcement officer was posted to monitor that building on the day of the rally. The Secret Service had declared it outside the secure perimeter and assumed local law enforcement was covering it. Local law enforcement assumed Secret Service was covering it. Crooks left no manifesto. Investigators found no threatening comments, no ideological declarations, no documented radicalization pathway on his social media. The FBI initially told Congress he had one social media account. It was later discovered he had at least 17. The FBI had missed 16 of them. No autopsy report has been made public. No coroner's summary. No ballistic trajectory analysis. No formal forensic reconstruction of the scene. In the 1981 Reagan shooting, all of that was public within weeks. A full year after Butler, a former Secret Service agent named Anthony Cangelosi, who now lectures at John Jay College of Criminal Justice, told PBS that the number of errors made that day boggles his mind. A congressional task force called the events of July 13th preventable. No bipartisan independent panel has been convened. No one has been held accountable for any of it. The narrative closure was instant. The forensic closure has not happened. The second attempt, Ryan Routh in West Palm Beach, was a man who had spent weeks in the bushes near Trump's golf course with a rifle, documenting his own radicalization on social media in real time, leaving a paper trail wide enough to drive a truck through, and was spotted by a Secret Service agent before he could fire. A man supposedly committed to killing the president, who could not stop narrating his own intentions publicly while doing it. The third attempt is Cole Allen at the Correspondents Dinner, a hotel guest, running at guards who were in the process of dismantling the checkpoint. The president sitting at his table with the expression of a man who has seen this before. 3 attempts. 3 lone wolves with no credible ideological documentation. 3 events that each arrived precisely when the political conditions were most favorable for a rally around the flag moment. 3 events after each of which the president's poll numbers moved in a specific direction. At some point, a pattern stops being a coincidence and starts being a brief. The photograph is iconic. Trump's fist raised, blood on his face, the American flag behind him. It looked like a movie poster for a very specific reason, which is that it was composed with the same spatial logic as a movie poster, captured by a New York Times photographer standing at exactly the angle required to make it look that way.
Hello out there in internet land. I'm Lily, the editor at The Wise Wolf, and I just wanted to steal a moment of your time to urge you to subscribe to our god-awful channel. Otherwise, my professor is going to press charges for breaking into his office to shoot this clip. Thanks. Bye now.
After Butler, a substantial portion of the American evangelical community declared that God had personally deflected a bullet from Donald Trump's skull as a sign of divine favor. Trump ran with every word of it. I take scripture seriously. I am not here to tell anyone what God can or cannot do. What I am here to tell you is that the fastest way to make a population stop asking questions about an event is to surround that event with the language of divine intervention. Because any question about the mechanics of what happened becomes, by rhetorical sleight of hand, a question about whether you believe God is real. Every inconsistency becomes a test of faith. Every skeptic becomes a blasphemer. The event is wrapped in theology and made immune to scrutiny. Proverbs 14:15 says the simple man believes every word, but the prudent man watches where he is going. A man with a documented financial interest in being perceived as divinely protected, running with a narrative that frames his survival as proof of divine appointment, is not a theological development. It is a product launch, and it worked on millions of people who were genuinely trying to do the right thing by their faith. This is not an accident. This is how the wedge goes in. Not stormtroopers, not armbands, not the version from the history books that everyone is watching for, because it is the only version they were taught to recognize. the merger of state and corporate power, a government that cannot be separated from the corporations that fund it, staff it, and ultimately direct it. Write that definition down, and then look at Palantir's federal contract list and tell me what you see. Not goose-stepping through the streets. Wrapped in the flag, carrying a cross. Arriving at a press conference with a man who just survived his third assassination attempt. Flanked by tech billionaires invoking God's protection, telling you that the only reasonable response to the violence is a new national security infrastructure that will keep everyone safe. Which brings us to what that infrastructure is actually named, and who built it, and what they were thinking about when they chose the name. What Peter Thiel and Alex Karp are about to offer you. Palantir is named after the Seeing Stones from Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. The Palantiri were crystal balls through which the Dark Lord Sauron, Tolkien's polite way of saying Satan, surveilled the world and bent the minds of those who looked into them toward his will. Peter Thiel co-founded it. Peter Thiel, who last year hosted a private invitation-only, no cameras allowed seminar. The subject of that seminar was the Antichrist. Not metaphorically, not academically. A private gathering of powerful men convened by one of the architects of America's surveillance infrastructure to discuss the figure that Scripture identifies as the entity who will preside over the end of human sovereignty, the implementation of a global control system, and the requirement that every person on earth submit to a mark without which they cannot buy or sell. Revelation 13 has been in the Bible the entire time. The company named after Sauron's surveillance stones, co-founded by the man who hosted the Antichrist seminar, is the company about to stand at a podium with the President of the United States and offer America its new national security architecture within the next 90 days. After 3 assassination attempts that nobody has adequately explained. With Alex Karp, Palantir's CEO, standing there with the expression of a man who has been waiting for this specific moment for a very long time. The announcement will have an acronym. It will be about keeping Americans safe. There will be footage of Cole Allen running at a checkpoint. There will be AI threat assessment platforms and biometric identification systems and camera networks and health monitoring devices, and all of it will be presented as the only reasonable response to 3 years of documented violence against a sitting president. And it will feel reasonable. Palantir already pulls together your tax returns, your passport, your license plates, your social security records, your employment history, your social media, and your location data into a single AI-generated profile. They have active contracts with the IRS, the NSA, the CIA, ICE, the Pentagon, and DOJE. They call it a data fusion platform. The step they are about to propose is making sure they know where you are and what you are carrying at all times. In public spaces, near government buildings, near the president. The infrastructure for this already exists. 3 attempted assassinations have now provided the emotional and political justification to deploy it. Benjamin Franklin named this transaction in 1755. You give up liberty, you get the promise of safety. You deserve neither, because the safety was never the point. Control was always the point. The only thing standing between you and East Berlin. The Founding Fathers did not include the Second Amendment because they were enthusiastic about deer season. They included it because they had just fought a revolutionary war against a government that had decided it knew better than the people it governed. And they wanted the people who came after them to have the means to repeat the exercise if necessary. Every military strategist on Earth has made the same calculation about a land invasion of the continental United States. There are more guns than people here. They are distributed across every farmhouse, every suburb, every apartment building in the country. An invasion force does not land on American soil and encounter a military. It encounters an entire civilian population that has been quietly maintaining the ability to defend itself since before the Republic was founded. Once the guns are gone, that calculation changes. And the people who want that calculation to change are the same people who are going to be standing at that podium with Trump, showing you Cole Allen running at a checkpoint, explaining in compassionate and reasonable language why it is simply no longer safe to allow the kind of unregulated civilian firepower that made the assassination attempts possible. They are not wrong that the firepower exists. They are lying about what it is for. It is not there to threaten presidents. It is there to make it impossible for presidents to threaten you. There is a difference, and it is the difference between the country the founders built and the thing that Thiel and Karp and the men behind them are trying to build in its place, which is East Berlin with better branding and a Palantir data fusion platform instead of the Stasi, and a health monitoring app instead of neighborhood informants, and a confidence score attached to your name instead of a file in a cabinet. And the end result is identical. You will have traded your liberty for their safety, and deserved neither. Franklin knew. He always knew. The question is whether enough Americans still remember what he was talking about before the next press conference makes forgetting feel like the reasonable choice. Help keep the wise wolf howling.